This past year, I've been super locked in, training 6 days a week, following the same diet, not drinking, going to bed at the same time. And yet I still felt like I had no energy, no drive, and no motivation to do the things that I needed to do on an every single day basis. With that being said, I was like, maybe I should get my blood work done. Maybe I should get my blood work done, see what it comes out as, see where I'm at, and see if there's maybe something that I'm doing incorrectly to be able to change and to be able to do better. I got it done and my numbers came back way lower than I thought I was. For someone who is 24, trains 6 days a week, don't drink, heavy compound lifts, all of that type of stuff, I thought for sure my test was going to come back 800, but it came back low. It came back at like 459, which was way lower than I thought. And there might have been a few things that I was doing incorrectly leading up to the test, because this was my first time ever getting a blood test. I had trained 12 days in a row pretty hard up until the test. The night before, I did a very difficult leg day, and then I didn't take the test until later in the day when you're supposed to do it like first thing in the morning. I did a number of things wrong, and maybe it came back a little suppressed, but I still felt like it was lower than what I thought it should be. And I felt like, okay, there's something I'm doing incorrectly, something that I'm doing wrong that is causing me to do this. My dad recently, he does that type of blood work stuff. He's big into holistic health and biohacking and all that type of shit. And he sent me his blood work, and his testosterone was 1300 for a 62-year-old man. And I was just like, what is going on here? I was confused. My dad does take testosterone, so he might just be a super responder to it, and that's why his test is that high. My brother, his test is like 1400, and he also takes testosterone. He takes a lot of it. I'm not advocating to take testosterone. I do everything naturally. Even though those two, they can do that and they can have good results, I know that if I just change a few things around, my energy, my drive, and my testosterone is going to be higher. So I got that test about a month ago, and since then I've been doing a number of things differently, and it's already yielded positive results and positive returns. It's going to sound weird, but the biggest marker for those positive returns and positive results is how I wake up in the morning, how I feel when I wake up in the morning. And recently, when I've been waking up in the morning, I wake up super bricked up. I wake up super hard, super ready to go. When I was waking up in the morning, I wasn't waking up with that, super bricked up like you should be as a young guy. I would wake up and I would kind of just have like a flab, and I'm like, well, that's probably not a good thing, right? Some days I'd wake up hard, some days there wasn't really much going on down there. And I think that is one of the key elements and the key indicators that maybe something is wrong with your testosterone levels or your energy and the way that you feel. I needed to figure out what I was doing wrong, what things I could change, and where I was going incorrectly, because I felt like I was doing everything right? I was training 6 times a week. I was eating ground beef, eggs, rice, raw milk. I was not drinking. I was sober, going to bed at 10 p.m. every single night. Like, I was doing all of the things that a young man should be doing in order to build his self, build his drive, build his physique, build his life up. Results weren't there. As you guys can see from my numbers, they just weren't there. And so something had to change, something had to give, something I was doing wrong. And the very first thing that I was doing wrong was overtraining. I was doing too much. I was training 6-7 days a week, hour and a half, hour 45 minutes in the gym every single day, like actually lifting for that amount, not like showing up to the gym, like actually lifting that full entire amount. And that was almost every single day of the week, 6 to 7 days of the week. And also like never taking a deload week, always taking every single set to failure. Those type of things will cause you to raise your cortisol and cause you to overtrain. And when you overtrain, your cortisol rises, and cortisol and testosterone, they typically have an inverse relationship. The higher your cortisol is, the lower your testosterone is going to be, and the lower your cortisol is, the higher your testosterone is likely to be. And so I had to understand that my body was probably getting stressed out. My cortisol was probably high just because of my overtraining. Switched up my training. Now I just do 5 days a week. I make sure I get 2 full entire days rest from the gym. And then I'm only in there training for an hour and 15 minutes max. And I don't take every single set in the gym till failure. For each exercise, I just take 1 set till failure. I feel like already I'm making actually more gains because I am recovering more. I'm not spending so much time in the gym. I have time, my body now has time to recover, and I have time to get back into the gym, and my workouts are actually even better and even stronger, and I'm putting on even more muscle simply due to the fact that I'm giving my body and giving myself more time to recover. That was the biggest thing I had to understand and look at myself in the mirror, is that Yes, training is good and going to the gym is what every single man should be doing, but a lot of the times we do too much to try to get a better result, right? And my physique really did grow. My physique was getting better while I was training 6, 7 days a week. Obviously, it's going to get better doing that. But you're also stressing your body out, and your body needs time to rest and recover to grow back stronger. In the gym, your muscles break down. Outside of the gym, that is when you rest, that is when you recover, and that is when your body grows back even stronger. And so this was the thing that I needed to change and that I needed to do differently, was understand that I needed to give my body more time to rest. 5 days a week, 2 workouts for each muscle group, right? I hit each muscle group twice a week, right? Not taking every single set till failure. And then I typically do pyramid sets to where I'll probably do like the same weight, but then go down in reps. So like 12, 10, 8. And this has been such a game changer for me. I feel like I'm building more muscle and I feel like I'm giving my body more time to recover, and therefore my workouts are even better. Based on my numbers, my blood work, the primary outlier was that I was training too much and doing too much in the gym. From everybody I talked to, from all of the Claude research and all that type of shit, it all basically came down to the fact that I was overtraining and I needed to change a couple other things. That's another thing. You have to understand that your testosterone gets produced during deep and REM sleep. And so if you are not getting deep and REM sleep, you are not producing testosterone. And this was the thing that I was missing out on. And this is probably why I wasn't waking bricked up back then, because I wasn't sleeping deeply. I was getting sleep, but I wasn't sleeping super deeply. And so something was off, right? And from the research that I did is that you want your room to be set to about 65 to 68 degrees. I live in Austin, Texas, and it's about 100 degrees every single day. So my apartment just naturally runs very hot. I would come home from work and my apartment would be literally like 83, 84 degrees because I didn't turn the air on while I was at work. And so I would try to turn it on before I went to bed, and my AC didn't get cool enough till basically when I woke up the next day. It didn't get to the 65 degrees that I wanted to until the next day. Also put in a thermostat right next to where I sleep, right next to my bed, and I saw the temperature when I was going to bed was like 78 degrees. That is way too hot and not a good environment for you to be sleeping in. Okay, so the change that I made was like, all right, I'm gonna go to work for however many times, or I'm gonna spend my day doing whatever I'm doing, go to the gym, working, whatever the case may be. Right? When I am away from home, I cannot let this temperature go above 75 degrees. And then at 6 o'clock, I bring it down to all the way to 64 degrees. Because actually, where my bed is, it's a little bit hotter in that room. And so you got to be careful about that. So what I'm telling you guys is to get a thermostat and figure out what degrees you are sleeping in, what temperature you are actually sleeping in. Actually see what temperature you're sleeping in and make sure you have that temperature at around 65 to 68, at the very minimum below 70 every single night. Therefore, you are going to sleep deeper. Therefore, you are going to sleep better. Since I have been doing this, my sleep has been way better. My sleep has been tremendous. And also what I'm doing is I'm getting blackout curtains, and my entire apartment is black. I have every single light off, no tiny lights, no little lights, nothing like that. My phone is in another room. Blackout curtains, cold and dark room, you will sleep so much better. I've been able to sleep deeper and get more REM sleep, which is gonna allow me to increase my testosterone. And then additionally, on Sundays, I just don't even set an alarm and allow my body to sleep till whenever I want to wake up. I think this is one of the best things that you can do. You should be in bed for that, like bed with the lights off, for at least 8 hours. Sleep and training were the two things that I immediately knew I needed to fix, right? My diet was actually good. The blood test came back and it said my diet was good. My cholesterol wasn't too high. I was eating the right foods. My hemoglobin, my thyroid, all of those functionings were actually very good. My vitamin D was actually out of range. So another thing that I did was I stopped supplementing vitamin D, and I'm just starting to focus on getting it naturally from the sun. Stopped overtraining. I got my sleep right, made sure I was sleeping in an actual cold and dark room, not just what I thought it was, but I got a thermostat and I made sure all the lights were off, and I made sure that temperature was low, and I made sure during the day my apartment doesn't get too hot. You don't want your balls to be in a super hot environment all of the time. Make sure you are protecting your balls by sleeping in a cold and dark room. But the third thing was just more natural remedies. So in the morning, I really wasn't focused on getting sunlight. I wasn't focused on getting sun in the morning or walking outside or any of that type of stuff. So what I started to do was every single morning I have an alarm set at 8:30 to be able to go outside and just get 10 to 15 minutes of morning sun. The reason why you want to get morning sun is because it resets your circadian rhythm. Your body operates off a circadian rhythm, and if your circadian rhythm is out of line, it's out of whack, you're not going to be able to sleep as good as you should be. You're not going to get that deep in REM sleep, which is so important for producing testosterone. And so every single morning, what I do now is I go outside and I make sure I get at least 5 minutes of morning sun, at least 5. I'm out there for at least 5 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes is optimal, but at least 5 minutes is good. You get sun in your eyes and your circadian rhythm resets, and then you're able to go to bed that night and sleep deeply and the way you should be sleeping. Getting out into nature and just going for walks outside. I think this is one of the best things you can do, because if your cortisol is high, there is a reason why. Your breath is either shallow, you have a stressful job, or you don't get out into nature enough and you don't get outside enough. Human beings, we're meant to be outside, we're meant to be in nature, and if you are never doing that, you are probably stressing yourself out and stressing your body out. So this is the other thing that I need you guys to start doing, is to get into nature. Go outside, go for walks, go for hikes. Different things like that are some of the best things that you can do for yourself and for your body to lower your cortisol, to calm down, and to increase your testosterone. You have to remember, cortisol and testosterone have an inverse relationship. So higher cortisol, lower testosterone. Lowering your cortisol by going outside, going for walks, relaxing, chilling, and just doing the right things. Getting out into nature, morning sunlight, stop overtraining, give yourself and your body some time to rest. Ground beef, eggs, rice, avocado diet. That diet was money for me. My blood work said the same thing. And then additionally, make sure that you guys are sleeping in a very cold and very dark room every single night. If you do this one thing and you stop drinking and you're sober, you will wake up bricked up every single day and you will feel so much better every single morning. This was the biggest change that I noticed already, is that in the mornings I wake up so much more bricked up because I'm getting deep in REM sleep and I'm actually having vivid dreams every single night. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram, Tyler James Fit, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.